Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to go ahead and get started. My name is Dr. Lisa Andrews, and this is Salary and Promotion Negotiation. I'd like to go over a few housekeeping items for today before I get started. The presentation is being recorded, so if you miss anything, you'll be able to see the recording on our YouTube channel. Probably will be posted within a week or so. So give it a little bit of time for us to do that. Just want to explain all the letters behind my name in case you're curious. Of course, you know PhD stands for Profusely High Debt. CCC stands for Certified Career Counselor, and CMCS is Certified Master of Career Services. I would like to thank Elle Sachs, you may see on this call, who is my producer for the event. She's helping me out. While I'm going through these little housekeeping items, if you could have your phone camera ready and up, I will be doing some anonymous interactive polling during the presentation. So have those up and ready. We'll be doing some polling and interactive that will be anonymous during the presentation. And also we'll save questions for the end, so have those ready. When the presentation's over, we'll save some time for questions, and we can unmute, use the raise hand function, or put them in the chat, and then we'll do those at the end. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So the presentation is kind of broken into two parts. The first part will be about asking for a promotion and a raise at work. And the second part will be asking for doing a salary negotiation. So it's really kind of split into two parts. So first, I'll start with asking for a promotion and a raise. Okay, here is our first interactive poll. So what you'll do is scan that QR code, and it will ask you for that 7-digit code at the bottom there. So go ahead and hopefully this will work. Scan that QR code and enter that number. Oh, I see that it is working. And choose your answer. Yay, it's working. That's great. What is the best day to ask for a raise or a promotion? Give it a couple more seconds. I see some answers coming in. Just give it 5 more seconds to answer. Okay, and according to Psychology Today magazine, the best day to ask for a raise or promotion is actually Thursday. So 11% of you got it right. It's actually Thursday. No one said Monday. Yeah, exactly. The worst day actually to ask for a raise or promotion is Monday. You definitely do not want to start the week off. Monday is a day when most people are kind of getting their week started. There's a lot on your plate that day. You're just recovering from the weekend. You kind of have the sense that you don't really want to, your boss has a sense that they don't really want to be there that day. So it's not a great day to walk in there and say, hey, how about that raise or promotion? So, Tuesday and Wednesday, again, just kind of getting into things, getting projects off the ground, recovering from that weekend. So not the best days. Thursday is really the best day. The notion there is Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. You're accomplishing things are getting off your plate, you're prepping for the weekend. Friday, you're mentally checked out, really. You're not all the way there. And you're not really in a business frame of mind. You're not in a decision-making frame of mind, whereas Thursday is the day. It's kind of the golden opportunity. It's the day when you're in the sort of best frame of mind. You're anticipating the weekend, so you're in a good frame of mind. You're in a generous frame of mind is the thought. So Thursday really is the best day to ask for a raise or promotion. So thanks for participating in that. And keep your camera phones active. There will be more interactive interactive polls coming up. Okay, another one. Oh, wait, let me go back. Sorry, going backwards. Sorry. Sorry. Okay, here we go. What word describes how you're feeling about asking for a promotion or raise right now in this point in the presentation? So what would you say? What word describes how you're feeling right now about the thought of asking for a promotion or raise? So go ahead and scan that QR code again. Okay, anxious, nervous. Nervous is a big one. Okay, yep. Pessimistic, okay. These are all very common feelings. Give it a couple more seconds. Yep, anxious, uneasy, yep. All very common emotions. This is definitely not an easy thing to do. There are a lot of negative emotions surrounding asking for a promotion or raise. Again, not an easy thing to do. So certainly I don't see any positive emotions surrounding this. Excited. Yeah, I really want to do this. It's something I, look forward to. Certainly these are definitely trepidatious times, non-confident, absolutely. So this is something that you kind of need a workshop like this to kind of boost your confidence and negate some of these negative feelings. So let's see how to do that. So there are kind of some factors to consider certainly in asking for a promotion. First, you do kind of want to understand though, what new responsibilities that role requires. So the role you're kind of aspiring to be in, you really do want to understand what you're getting yourself into. Truly, do you have those skills and training? Are you really ready for that role? Have you kind of proven yourself in similar tasks before? Have you do you have really the kind of transferable skills that it would take to do the role that you're asking for? Do you really want to have that level of responsibility? Kind of that old adage, be careful what you wish for, you just might get it. So, really kind of do some self-introspection here before you do ask for that promotion. You just might get it. And also, it's important to kind of know the current climate of the company and have kind of the underground pulse of what's going on. Know that you may actually be competing with others for the same promotion. Kind of know the pulse of what's going on in your team or in the company, in the organization that you're working within. Know who else might be out there that may be your competition. And kind of, again, the pulse, know what's going on. Are things going well at work, or is there some instability there, or any uncertainty about the organization's future? What's going on in the balance sheet of the organization? Is the organization on a good trajectory? Are there positive things happening at the top or even underneath you? Are people getting promoted elsewhere in the company? Are there other good things happening, or is there a little bit of uncertainty going on? Because management needs to know they can trust you to take on the responsibilities of a higher level role and benefit the company. That's really key as well. They need to know that there's trust there and that by doing this, you're going to make an impact and benefit the company. That's why they would move you forward. Other factors to consider, you really want to do, and these factors are those to consider when you are asking for a raise. So you really want to kind of do your research. So you want to know what is a fair compensation for this role. And you want to have kind of reasonable expectations in terms of the compensation that you want to ask for. You want to gather evidence of your previous contributions and performance. So you want to kind of keep a journal in a way of your previous contributions, performance, kind of evidence that you can use, and then kind of turn that into dollars and cents. You want to really stick with measurable facts that show your experience and achievements. And again, try to turn that into dollars and cents, especially if you can demonstrate that you've achieved dollars and cents. So what measurable outcomes or numbers that show improvements you've made for the company, or any kind of praise from superiors or colleagues, are really ideal. So, be able to explain what value you bring to your organization and how you can bring even more value in that higher role. So, when asking for that promotion and that raise, what can you demonstrate? What have you done? What have you done for me lately, essentially? What can you prove? What kind of numbers can you bring? What can you really demonstrate from the past year, or depending how long it's been, from the past several years, that you can really use as kind of that hard evidence to kind of demonstrate that you're really deserving of what you're asking for. And timing really, really matters. So again, as I mentioned earlier, look at the bigger picture. If the company's experiencing some kind of financial hardships in any way, this really might not be the best time to ask. So you really kind of have to know what's going on within the company and really have your finger on the pulse of what's going on financially in order to determine if this really is the best time, or if it might be better to wait a couple of months, maybe 2, 3, 4, 6 months even, before you make the ask, or make a move outside the company and look to negotiate a better salary at a different company. So stay tuned for that discussion. And also on a personal level, have your job responsibilities changed significantly? Has there been a significant increase in additional responsibilities? And have you excelled in one or more areas? So again, what's been going on? What's been going on with you at the company, and what's been going on at the company? All these factors kind of play into both negotiating for a new salary, a higher salary, and negotiating for that promotion. And also pay attention to kind of external factors and who's coming into the company. So, if you're noticing or hearing that, Mr. So-and-so or Mrs. So-and-so's, been hired into the company at, a higher salary than you, or you're noticing, job postings where, new hires are coming in at the same job level as you, but are at a higher salary. Now's the time to talk about that with someone, with your supervisor, or coming in, with the same, let's say, level of experience as you, but at a higher title. Definitely now's the time to negotiate. Okay, so how to identify your number? You always want to identify a specified amount. So you don't want to go with a range. You always really want to zero in on a specific amount. And the average raise is really between about 3 to 5% of your current salary. So that's kind of the number you want to go with. So you don't want to go with a range. You really want to go in with a specific number. And you don't want to really pull this number out of thin air. You really want to do your homework. So again, you can go to salary websites, you can reach out to recruiters, you can review similar jobs within the industry, know your current salary, but like within the company. So, other people within the company and what maybe they've negotiated, or various industry groups or professional organizations. So kind of networking as well within your own industry to see what the market is like. So again, this shouldn't really kind of come out of thin air. You definitely want to do your research. Okay, so now that you've done your research, you kind of have the pulse on the company and everything, making the ask. So you want to prime the pump, though. You don't want to necessarily wait for your next performance evaluation. You really want to kind of drip feed your successes throughout the year so it won't come as this big surprise that you're kind of like dropping this in their lap at your performance evaluation. And you don't have to wait for your performance evaluation for this to happen. Okay. So again, remember I talked about, keeping this journal. Well, typically, or really you kind of should have one-on-one check-ins with your supervisor every week. And if they're not demanding that, you really should. Or if there's not a formal check-in every week, then you should really, again, and I would suggest in writing, drip feed these successes throughout the year, or at least I would say on a weekly basis, or whenever a success happens, email it to them. So for example, you host, let's say something like this, you host a workshop, email them how many participants came, email them some positive testimonials, email, whatever the case may be, however you measure success or you feel that they would measure success, drip feed that to them. And then also keep track of it yourself so that, because they may not keep track of that email, but you will. So blind copy yourself and then keep that in a little folder called successes. Okay. So again, keep track of it yourself in a little journal and a little folder in your email box. But make sure that you're communicating your successes throughout the year. So again, it doesn't come as a big surprise. And you really want to treat it as a job interview. You got to be confident and assertive. Again, as they say in Texas, if you've done it, it ain't bragging. All right, you have to really assert yourself and be confident. You have done this stuff, so it is there for you to brag about. But you do want to start on a positive note. I like working here. Well, if you do, okay, again, stay tuned for negotiating a salary somewhere else. And focus on how that promotion will support your organization goals and values. So really be results oriented. I like working here and I want to contribute, and here is how. Okay, so frame that promotion as a way to collaborate rather than just a reward for you. So you don't want to frame it as, I'm so great, I'm so wonderful, here are all the great things I've done, and this is why you should reward me for that. But really it really all is about framing up. Naturally, you want to be rewarded, but you really kind of want to frame it as, let's collaborate. And I can't necessarily do this collaboration in the role I'm in, but if you promote me, I can really make a bigger difference in this higher level role. So you want to focus on that performance and achievement, okay, not personal issues such as, gee, my rent is going up this year, or wow, the price of eggs has tripled, isn't that horrible? Focus on performance and achievements, not a sob story, okay? Even though, yes, everything has gotten more expensive, but everyone knows that. Really just keep it on focus on performance and achievements. That is the language that business people speak. They don't speak the language of egg prices. Okay, but learn to accept rejection. However, it might not be a no, it might just be a not yet. Okay, again, you have to think of business climate. Okay, so it may just be that the organization is on a slight downturn, but what goes down eventually could go up. So again, it might, and they may say this to you, this quarter isn't so great, but the projections look good for next quarter. So let's revisit this. Hopefully that will be the end of the conversation. So it may not be, a no right now. It may just be a not yet. So don't give up. So before you go into the conversation, really kind of see it from your supervisor's perspective and try to anticipate potential roadblocks and how you might combat them, or how you might, respond. So for example, they may think, how big of a raise does this person deserve? And how might you respond to that? Do I have the money to say yes to this request? Again, kind of knowing the inside baseball or the pulse of the organization. what would this mean for the salary, for other people's salaries within the organization? Would I have to cut something somewhere else to accommodate your request? And then, is this a reasonable salary overall? And also, am I worried about losing this position? I'm not advocating an ultimatum. I'm definitely not advocating that. But on the other hand, that may be something that they will bring up to you. Will they say to you, "Is this an ultimatum?" So you need to be able to address that question. Will you look elsewhere? So think about how you will answer that question. Okay, so here's the pitch, right? Or the approach. You really want to know your supervisor manager's communication style. Definitely schedule an appointment with them. Make sure that it is a good time for them. Kind of know when they work best. Are they a morning person, afternoon person? You think this would be a good time to invite them to lunch. Know if they're kind of more task or like relationship oriented. Again, would it be better as a lunch? Or do you think it's better to, get on their calendar for an appointment? Do you think you need to prepare, more of a formal presentation, like a proposal where you do bullet points on a, in a bound presentation or something like that? Kind of know their style. It probably depends on the nature of the job or the organizational culture. And you want to probably document your accomplishments or impact in one central location. In case they come back with you and say, can you put this in writing? Then you'll have it ready to go. Okay, so let's move forward to negotiating a salary. So let's say the whole thing goes south and you're saying to yourself, you know what? I think I'm going to look elsewhere. And you come through the interview process and you're ready to start negotiating a salary. Now, should you negotiate? Absolutely. However, according to salary.com, only 37% of people always negotiate their salaries. It's strikingly low, and an astonishing 18% never do. 44% of respondents to this survey claim to have never brought up the subject of a raise during their performance review. And the reason is because of fear. That wasn't something that you responded to actually during the survey, was fear. And for those of you who are women here in the webinar today, from Linda Babcock in the Women Don't Ask survey, only about 7% of women attempted to negotiate their first salary, while 57% of men did. And of those people who negotiated, they were able to increase their salary by over 7%. So it's pretty significant if you think about it. So why not negotiate? If you do negotiate, you're almost guaranteed to increase your salary by at least 7%. So let's talk about negotiation and why negotiating matters by going back to that survey about the 7%. Okay, so take a look at this chart. Okay, between according to the study that was done at Stanford University. So you have yourself and you have your coworker. Now you negotiated for $100,000, okay? And your coworker negotiated 7% higher than that, okay? Now, assuming you and your coworker were treated identically from then on, you both received the same raises and promotions from then on, okay? And you both negotiated from the beginning, but they negotiated higher than you. You would have to work 8 years longer to be as wealthy as them in retirement. Do you want that? No, absolutely not. So this is the power of negotiation, okay? So you definitely want to negotiate and negotiate as high as you can, okay? So this chart really just shows you the power of negotiation. Okay, so here it is. You want to have the 3 figures rule, okay? First, you want to have your kind of ideal number in mind. And remember I said earlier, you want to have an exact figure. You don't want to have a range. You always want to come in with an exact figure, because with a range, what will happen? They will always go with the lower number, right? That's how the human brain works. They're always going to cheap out. That is just human nature. So always want to go with a figure. That way there is no room. Then your second number is the lowest number you're willing to accept. So in your mind, you want to have a range, but you never want to present the range to the person you're negotiating with. You always want to present them with the exact number. But in your mind, you have the range. So in your mind, you have the 3 figures, but you always want to present your number. So you, in your mind, you have the lowest number you're willing to accept. And then your third number is what number you're willing to walk away from because it is so low. Okay, so you want to have that number in mind as well. But you also want to find out when the next salary review will take place. Is it 6 months? Is it a year? You know, with the next performance review, is there a cost of living increase? So you want to find out, you know, when the next one is going to take place. And ideally, you want to figure this out before you start negotiating so that you have an idea of, you know, how much you should kind of adjust your initial number. So again, you want to have kind of those 3 figures in mind, okay? But you don't want to give them a range. I should also mention that you don't want to be the first person to bring up salary in a salary negotiation, in an interview process, okay? You want the employer to be the one to bring up salary. You don't want to be the one to initiate the conversation. But the first number put on the table is called the anchor, and all negotiations will be based upon the anchor, okay? So ideally, you know, people say, well, what if they ask me what my number is? And really, ideally, that's a good thing because the anchor, when the anchor is dropped, it's like, boom, it lands on the bottom of the ocean floor. And it's really hard to pull up that anchor, right? Once it's on the ocean floor, it's on the ocean floor. So if you're the one to drop the anchor, good. You start the negotiation process. So, of course, so during the interview, you wait for them to bring up the salary negotiation, but the first number put on the table or on the ocean floor is the anchor. And then all negotiations around that number will be based upon that anchor. And so then, of course, let's talk about the counteroffer. So do you meet the required and preferred qualifications outlined in the job description? This will all kind of determine how that counteroffer is then negotiated, okay? So let's say you drop the anchor, they are going to counter, okay? Then your offer back to them will be determined by all of these factors. How many years of experience do you have? You know, leadership experience, project management experience, anything else that pertains to the role, licenses, certifications, the cost of living, the price of eggs, okay? Never fear the counter offer. You don't get what you don't ask for. And remember the 3 numbers you have in your mind. Okay, so some other salary negotiation tips. You want to be enthusiastic, but don't commit right away. But also you don't want to sit on an offer for more than 24 hours. So you don't want to play too hard to get. You don't want to commit right away, but you also don't want to sit on it for more than 24 hours. Now, you want to view yourself as a high value candidate. You were chosen, you were given an offer. There's an offer on the table. They spoke to you about salary. They want you. You are the one they want, okay? So don't be afraid to counter. Don't be afraid. But at the same time, don't be afraid to negotiate, okay? So don't be afraid to come back to them. Now you can say you have a competing offer, but don't lie, Okay, so this is not the time to be deceptive either. You definitely want to focus on market value. Okay, so definitely do your research, but also you want to get that offer in writing. So initially the conversations will be verbal, but once you have their offer, ask them to email it to you so that you have it in writing. And then of course you can counter verbally, and then find out what happens next from there, and of course get everything in writing. Okay. I just said the wrong word. Okay. In any negotiation, when they come to you with their number, so I'm just going to throw out a number of $65,000. That's my offer. The last thing you want to say when they say that number is okay. As soon as you say the word okay, they think you've agreed to it. Okay. So you want to change the word okay to As soon as you say the word okay, you've agreed. So just say the word and then follow up with anything else you want to say after that. You can say thank you for your offer. That's interesting. You can say anything after that, but just don't say the word okay or yes or whatever, anything that acquiesces to what they just said. Also, try not to tie your compensation to your self-worth. All right. So salary is just a number. So try not to take whatever they say personally. This also goes with the promotion as well, and what your salary is at your current company, your raise and so forth. If you don't get the promotion or they don't raise your salary, try to disaggregate your own self-worth from what they're offering you. And also, don't forget, there are other things you can negotiate, such as sabbatical leave, work from home, a change in title, commission, bonuses, benefits, hours, promotion and professional development opportunities, and funding for that, conferences, that kind of thing. So it's not just about salary. There are lots and lots of things you can negotiate. So be smart about it. Not everything, you can put a price on a lot of things. And I talk to a lot of people in my coaching practice about, especially since the pandemic, work-life balance. During the pandemic, I think all of us took a step back and looked at what's important to us in life. And for a lot of us, it was a lot more than money. A lot of people left their jobs and said, enough, I want to do something that means something to me now. And it's not about money anymore. Certainly I want to pay my bills, but I also want my life back. I want my time back. I want my hobbies back. So, there's a lot more to negotiate than just salary. So really think about what your life means to you, and negotiate that stuff too. And again, don't fear asking too much. If you don't negotiate, you will get nothing. You will get exactly what you ask for. Believe me, that is human nature. That is what negotiation is all about. And they will counter. So again, if you're at the salary negotiation phase, they want you, and they will not be afraid to counter with a lower offer because they still want you. So don't be afraid that if you ask for $80,000 and they offer you $70,000, that they're not going to offer you that. They still want you. So they're going to see if you will take the $70,000 by offering it to you. And they may throw in some other incentives as well, like a private jet or to work or something like that. Who knows? I mean, they want you. So they're going to probably sweeten the deal with other things, other intangibles that you can't put a dollar amount on. Okay. Again, don't give a range. The employer will always go to the lower number, commit to a number. Okay. So having heard everything I've said, grab your camera phone and tell me, how do you feel now about negotiating a salary or asking for a raise? Oh, I like these words. Deserving. Oh, I love that word. Deserving. That's great. Confident. I love it. This is great. So glad to hear that. Comfortable, deserving, empowered. These are great words. This was my goal, to hear these words. I wish we could go back to that earlier slide. Well, I can remember, distressed, anxious, nervous, undeserving, non-deserving, all of those words. So I'm glad that throughout this process and from hearing what you heard from me, you feel as though you deserve this, that you are worth it. And that you feel more empowered to ask for this, because again, you're at this stage, and so therefore they want you. Okay, so that's great. Now, you're not alone. There are a lot of resources out there. Okay. So I think that's probably part of the nervousness and the undeserving stuff, because you feel like you're pulling this out of thin air. And really, this is not rocket science. There's a lot of stuff out there on this stuff, because salary is such a taboo topic. But I think if we talked about it a little bit more, then employers wouldn't have so much power. So let's demystify this stuff, right? Let's just talk about it a little bit more. But there are resources out there. The Robert Half Salary Guide is great. Comes out annually. If you Google it, you can download it. Glassdoor is also good. There are, the insider kind of Yelp reviews of employers and what they pay. You can look at those. Handshake is also a good guide. That is an online jobs database that we offer through Georgetown that you have access to. Of course, salary.com, that's a good one. Payscale.com is also good. ONET, which you can access, it's onetonline.gov, I believe. It is run through the Department of Labor, and it has salaries that are normed for area of the country, which is great because, of course, a salary here is not the same as a salary in Topeka. Through networking as well. Like I said, let's normalize it. Let's be honest with each other. Come on, right? Let's be friends and tell each other what we make so that we can help each other. And dice.com, which is specific to the analytics world for those of you who are in that field, specific to the high-tech industry. All right. Also, just want to mention my services. I offer one-on-one coaching for all of you, lifetime and unlimited. That includes salary negotiation coaching. So if you want a little one-on-one boost of confidence, you get to that stage and you want to role play, I'd be happy to do that for you. For workshops like this, I have a couple more coming up, so watch your email for the upcoming workshops. Again, Handshake, if you want access to that, it's an online jobs database. Other events, employer and alumni events coming up as well. So watch the newsletter and your email for that kind of thing. Let's connect. So please follow us on Insta and tweet us as well at Georgetown PDC. If you did want to make an appointment with me, please take a picture while your camera phone's out of my Calendly link, calendly.com/LA851, or email me. I'd be happy to help you schedule something. I'll stop recording so we can share our questions and answers. So I'll do that now. Stop recording.